Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Love at the End of the World, Episode 2. I'm Jamin Shively, and I'm joined by my love of my life and Queen Melianor. Welcome, Queen Melianor.
Thank you, Jamin. Hi, everyone.
All right. Great to see you all again. Tonight, we're just going to talk. We don't really have an agenda. We're just going to talk about some aspects and thoughts and meditations we have about love at the end of the world. And I thought I'd kick it off with the Aristotelian definition of friendship, which is doing for the greater good, like taking action together, working together for the greater good, is the Aristotelian definition of friendship. And so for me, that makes me think, actually, I haven't even looked it up. Is there, I haven't looked up the Aristotelian definition of love, but just expanding from the Aristotelian definition of friendship to the realm of love, I see just a beautiful parallel. And in our case, we started off, we were each working in service of Mother Earth, and we met each other and fell in love, by working together in the service of Mother Earth, the greater good. So anyway, I had that thought. And because, now that we're at this ultra critical time where, it is predicted, not necessarily going to happen this way, but it is predicted by scientists such as Professor Guy McPherson that we have very little time left, on the order of months, and before, major catastrophes that wipe out, perhaps half or more of human population. That's what's predicted. Not on top of, actually, Guy McPherson's predicting that humanity will go extinct within the next, few years. And not to mention the extinction of so many other species that are going. We're losing maybe 150 to 200 species per day, approximately, and to extinction. And then, of course, with abrupt climate change, the predicted rises in temperature of several degrees centigrade in a very short span of years, it's predicted that this will end up wiping out most of life on Earth. So, on the one hand, so what actions can we take in service of the greater good? Well, we have a series called Noah's Arcology, where we talk about leveraging arcology in new and creative ways to save as much of life on Earth as we can and clean up our messes, including nuclear and other forms of very harmful contaminants. We need humans to stick around to clean up those messes, either humans or robots, or perhaps actually most likely a combination of both. But it's humans. But Noah's Arcology, as we talk about in this series by the same name, is all about co-creating this network of arcologies all around the world for these higher purposes. So, and in our lives, we're always, in our case, Queen Melianor and I, we're always talking about and taking action in the direction of serving Mother Earth and saving life, as much of life on Earth as we can. That's just our focus, our context.
Right.
And it's so wonderful to have a partner with whom there's just such perfect alignment. So.
Yeah, and I'd like to suggest the importance of love at this time on the planet is really about falling in love with life again, and falling in love with nature again, and seeing our connection with the source. And if we can fall in love again with life, then it will change the way we inhabit the planet. It'll change the way we see Earth. In the same way that the two of us are learning how to be in relationship with the beloved in a new way, in a different way, that's accompanying this opening of our hearts, back to opening them back up to loving life again, having reverence and respect for life again, and for the other that we are in relationship with.
Yeah. And we grew up, I grew up anyway, with notions of romantic love, and so much of love was focused on the family and your life partner, your spouse. And there, I wasn't really taught. Well, actually, I take that back. My mom took us out into nature quite a bit, and so did my dad. And so actually I was taught to love and revere nature and Mother Earth, but I wasn't taught that she was so fragile as she is. And now that our Mother Earth is dying, and it's about to get a lot worse, apparently that's what's projected. I'm all for miracles, and I pray for miracles. And actually, we're co-creating miracles together. So, I'm certainly not opposed to. I'm all about saving as much of life on Earth as we possibly can. And but for me, it's like my capacity to love has evolved and grown as I've really contemplated all this and asked myself, what can we do? What should we do? We post a lot on YouTube, and I get a lot of feedback that, oh, it's too late, there's nothing we can do. Well, it's too late to stave off the catastrophe of adding another 10 degrees C to the mean global temperature and all the attendant destruction of ecosystems and species. But even if we can't stave that off, there is so much that we can do. Again, Noah's arcology, one example. We can preserve a lot of life so that we give Mother Earth a chance to bounce back in the sense of carbon-based life, biology, ecosystems. So we can do, even if humans do not survive, we can do a lot, and it may not be perfect. It certainly won't be perfect, but let's do as much as we can to save as much of life on Earth as we can, as much diversity, as many ecosystems, diverse species, complex life. Again, not necessarily human life.
And then shifting out of human-centric to earth-centric way of being in the world will help us shift to this other focus, this new focus.
Yeah.
Back onto nature and how we can relate to nature in a way that's kind, loving, sustainable, gentle. We're not basing everything on economics and treating the land as a product rather than a living being.
Or a resource.
The earth.
A resource to be exploited.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, loving the whole, this planet-centric love, loving the whole of Mother Earth, loving the whole of life itself. And, for me, that's been quite an evolution from a largely, but not entirely, narcissistic sort of love of me and mine, right? Me and my family and my friends. But not really meditating and opening up my heart to loving, really loving, and therefore protecting and defending and doing as much as we can to nurture and actively love, right? Not just love as a feeling, but love as action, collective action for the greater good. And so just really expanding my scope and saying, what do I love? I love life itself. Not necessarily human life, because we have to grapple with yes, I love myself and I love you and I love my family and I love humanity. At the same time, I'm recognizing that humanity in its current modalities, its current set of living arrangements, is a cancer that's destroying life on Earth. So it's this love fear relationship, or love and wanting to contain. And, like I recently crossed a threshold where, before I was really focused on how do we save as much of humanity as we can, as much of life. I wanted to really save everything. But then where the threshold I crossed is that our large numbers as humanity are a giant problem. There are too many of us. And so that, if we go through a phase of contraction in our own population, even though that may involve quite a bit of suffering, if that is what it will take in order to save life on Earth, for example, we build a network of arcologies and maybe 1% of the human population survives, but with a whole new focus of loving and caring for Mother Earth and all her species and ecosystems, then, wow, that's a love that really inspires me, to carry on, because we humans we run on stories and missions and purpose and values. And so I think we really need a new story.
Yeah,
I'm not the first one to say this, of course, but we need a new story for humanity, a story that will really inspire us, a story that has meaning. And I think that the vision of Noah's Arcology as that being our story, it's like, so the story would go like this, we, Adam and Eve, whatever, beginnings, and, boom, then we discovered all these tools and kept creating new tools and agriculture, and, and population skyrocketed, and we got all into hoarding and separation, and we just totally overshot and over plundered and destroyed Mother Earth. And then as civilization was collapsing, this is now starting in 2018 and onward, as civilization is, collapses, and as there's massive environmental destruction, a certain, small percentage, maybe far less than 1% of humanity decided, hey, we need to do something about all this, rather than just continue on the toboggan ride down and just kind of, enjoy the view as much as we can, or the excitement, or whatever, or freak out or scream or whatever people do as society and Mother Earth are collapsing. Is there something else we can do? Is there something more we can do than just business as usual? And that's the genesis of Noah's Arcology and so many other cool projects that we're involved in, and that we don't even know about, that so many that are going on. And but anyway, back to the story, where we say, hey, there are some things we can do. This small percentage, which hopefully will grow to a sizable percentage and maybe ultimately grow to all of us, who knows? But we start with a small group, a small community, and this small community really gets it, comes together. We put our heads together and we say, okay, what do we do in the face of all this ongoing destruction? And we figure things out, like Noah's Arcology, and we deploy methodologies and systems and programs like holistic land management, holistic ocean management, and reforestation, and so many cool things, carbon sequestration, geoshading, so many things that we can do. Anyway, so back to the big narrative. So this group that starts from a small group, grows into a community, and grows, starts orchestrating all these amazing things, and life on Earth is saved. Right? Let's go with that story for a minute. Not all of life on Earth, but some of life on Earth, because we're at the brink of total annihilation. If you add on all the cumulative effects of all the greenhouse gases and destruction of ecosystems, rainforests, on and on, fracking, nuclear power plants, nuclear weapons, conventional weapons, the modern chemical industry, mining, metals, all this crazy stuff. The cumulative effects of all that are potentially going to extinguish life on Earth. I mean, how tragic would that be? And so this new story is that this group of us got together and grew into a community and grew into a planetary movement to save as much of life on Earth as we could possibly save. And we did this. That's a new story for humanity. And that's inspiring, regardless of whether, and that's inspiring regardless of whether humanity makes it or not.
Right.
So let's co-create a story with which we can fall in love with life again.
And how can we bring the abundance back that used to be here on the earth? It used to be said that in this part of the world, in the Northwest, that the salmon were so huge and there were so many of them, you could walk across their backs in the water.
Wow. And my whole dad's side of the family is from Ohio. And in Ohio, it was said that before, colonization, a squirrel could jump from tree to tree to tree to tree and cross the entire state of Ohio from east to west without ever touching the ground.
Incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, we as humans came into a world that was just ridiculously abundant, teeming with life, right? And beautiful nature, majestic mountains, rivers, snow, glaciers. I mean, so many beautiful things. And look what we've done.
Look, dwindling.
Thanks to our actions, our activities. So if we can be such a destructive force, can we become a positive force? Even though it's, late in the fourth quarter and, we're down so many points, is there something we can do? Can we redefine winning? Can we and that's what we're talking about with this whole new story for humanity, and in fact, story for the planet, right?
Yeah. Part of it's going to be living more simply. We don't need so much stuff.
Yeah.
And living more in community.
Yeah.
Where you share.
Yeah. Well, if our colleges are the only communities that survive this upcoming bottleneck, then that's really going to be the only way to go. I mean, our colleges don't support lots of stuff, or people personally accumulating lots of stuff.
Right.
And also we're going to have to live massively more communally and really on purpose, on fire and on purpose with, we talk in Noah's Arcology, we talk about co-locating our colleges right next to nuclear power plants or very close by, so that the population of that arcology can have as its mission the shutting down, the management, and ultimately the shutting down, decommissioning of the nuclear power plant. And there's 440 nuclear power plants around the world, so we got lots of work to do in this labor of love, right? But we got to fall in love. We got to fall in love with life and fall in love with the possibility, however impractical at first, because when we come together and work together and deploy our collective intelligence, our collective power, what seemed impossible once may become possible. So let's not use that word impossible too liberally, right? Let's first talk about it and see what's possible. And
also act.
Yes.
Talk about it, but we need to take the right steps now. We can't wait any longer.
It's interesting. For me, the first action is talking, and talking is action. What we're doing right now is a form of action. We're taking action, right? And so, because without talk, how will we know what the right action is? And what we've had up until now is, 7.35 billion individuals, each kind of making up their own mind about what they're going to do, and look at the effects. This whole culture of separation. And so, for me, conversation is the medium through which we come together and understand each other and develop empathy and fall in love.
Yeah.
You and I fell in love talking with each other.
That's right.
Right? Just talking. And we did that for months. Just, we'd get together and, maybe work on a project and go out to dinner and talk. Right. And just share.
Right.
So the medium of conversation. And that's why we're doing so many YouTube videos, and we encourage you all to jump in and join us. And, we'd love to have guests on the program. And we'd love to, that if people would post their comments, post videos that you've posted on YouTube or wherever. Jump in.
Yep.
The water's warm. It's fun.
Join us. Lots of fun.
And what else are we going to do?
Let's co-create.
Yeah. Look, regardless of whether we all die and all of life on Earth gets extinguished, let's love, right? Let's love at the end of the world.
Right.
And let's figure out what that means. And let's invite the world, the whole planet, to join us. So I think we can pull off amazing miracles if we make love our focus.
Amen to that, Jamin.
All righty. Well, should we let our viewers off the hook?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, great seeing you all. Love doing this with you, Queen Millenar.
Super fun.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you next time, and we invite and welcome all comments, questions, etc. Okay. See you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks so much.